This is the top of the SolTrekker. We're fixing 2 more solar panels to the array to increase the solar capacity. So you put 2 more panels on for us.
Yeah.
The total output of this is roughly enough to keep us off the grid, more or less?
I mean, this thing was not meant to go 100%, but it should keep you 90% off grid, you know?
Okay.
I mean, you have to plug in, you know, now and then, especially on cloudy days, but if you get sun, it should keep you pretty self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm. And the company that helped you out with these, did you want to give them a shout out? Or?
A company called AM Solar out of Eugene, Oregon. They've been doing this for like, I think about 15 years now. And
so you and your organization have somewhat of a partnership with them, I suppose.
Yeah, they're awesome. It's a small family-owned business. I know that it's a husband and wife team, and they're awesome. They really know their stuff too.
And your company is called SolTrekker. Where'd you get that name?
Well, it was just kind of a combination of the Spanish word for sun, soul, and then trekker. We've done a previous project called BioTrekker, which was just a biodiesel research project, traveling around the country, and so it seemed like a natural evolution for that.
And what's the, how do you characterize the mission of SolTrekker?
Well, our mission is to provide free renewable energy education to schools that need it the most. So there's a big discrepancy between schools that have a big budget for outdoor education and renewable energy, and then inner city schools in low-income areas that don't have a budget for it. So our mission is to narrow that gap. So we focus on going to schools that don't have budgets for it, that, you know, where a lot of the kids have never really even heard the words, you know, and just trying to get high school students, you know, if they can leave, if we can have one high school where the students graduating, you know first of all, know what renewable energy is, know how it works, and then, you know, have the tools, if they want them, to build a solar generator or to make biodiesel or to do some of these things that are not only like good skills to have for the job market, but they're kind of empowering in a self-esteem sort of way.
And I believe your solar waffle cart fits into that scenario.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just getting kids who normally wouldn't be exposed to it, and that's the biggest part of our mission, is just getting people who have been overlooked by big green corporate America. You know, the low-income populations have largely been overlooked, and we want to get them familiar with these technologies too, so that they have just as much they get just as much benefit as people who have a lot of money from these things.
What role does science play in your organization?
I mean, I'd say I like to see it as a 50-50 mix. Like, I think, you know, conservation plays a huge role, but I also think science is always going to play a huge role. When you look at every challenge that humanity's overcome, science has always, and technology has always played a role in that. So I think it's foolish for us to pretend that that's the enemy. You know, I think that science has its place, but I think a complete reliance on science and a belief that technology will solve every problem without, you know, without a human wisdom and human respect for the natural balance of things is silly. But I also think that it's going to be hard to go backwards. I know there's a lot of people who would like to go backwards, maybe, or say they'd like to go backwards, but I just don't think it's possible, and I don't think it's what we want.
Do you have good relationship with your region's research universities?
I'd say we have a very loose, and some ties that we do have are good, but we just don't have very tight connections. So it would be awesome to have a tighter connection with Portland Community College, with Portland State University, and by that I mean, like, we have connections with a few adjunct professors and a few professors here and there who come up and see our project and say, this is awesome, we want to help you in some way, but we don't really have, like, it doesn't feel like the university itself and the administration of the university itself is sending that message to us. So that would be nice, you know, to feel like, yeah, we're actually affiliated in some way in a loose partnership with this university, rather than just, you know, a professor of architecture who wants to have us in to talk about green building, or, you know, that's awesome, but it would be neat to have more of a, you know, a solid relationship with the university itself.
And finally, is there any particular research needs that you have that if you did have this robust connection that you'd like to see a flow of new knowledge in your direction to put wind in your SolTrekker sails?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that I would love to know more about, or that I'd love to have better access to as an organization. I mean, because the technology is always changing. So most of it, I mean, most of the research desires that I have are dealing with cutting edge technology. I'd love to see, you know, the most up-to-date research on biofuels from algae. You know, I'd love, I mean, I know something about it, but it'd be nice to have a database that I could go to that just plugs in and gives me, this is what's happening right now. This is the latest and greatest about algae's, you know, algae's potential for biofuel, or, you know, what's going on with concentrated solar thermal. I mean, all of these fields have, you know, are constantly changing because the research is constantly being updated by, mostly by, you know, universities that have the money to put money, you know, put time and effort into the research, and to big companies that have the time to, you know, and money to do it as well. So smaller nonprofits, it's hard for us to stay as up to date as a larger university. So it would be awesome to have that capacity to tie in.
Now, if anybody wants to rent the SolTrekker, they should just contact you at SolTrekker, right?
Yeah, they can just contact us at, they can either contact me directly at hi@soltrekker.org or at info.soltrekker.org.
Thanks,
we can get them hooked up.